What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review, and one that I decided to wait until he was available before, because this is what I would call a John band.
That's fair.
Get ready for distance to be brought up quite a bit. We are going to go over the latest offering from Malthusian, The Summoning Bell. This also comes out on the 8th of August on Relapse Records. This band formed in 2012 in Dublin, Ireland. This is their second album overall, and legit the first time that I have ever listened to this band. So it isn't one of those bands where I know everything about the band and I don't know shit. Sorry, I kind of did a little impersonation there.
Yeah, I'm not on an island this time. We're both on an island. I will take it.
It's called Ireland.
I don't get this chance much to say, he's never heard of this band either. This is both we never heard of this band, and I feel great right now. I'm going to go ahead and just pat myself on the back. Yeah, it's a good day. It's a Sunday. What a fun day.
And for those that don't know, much like us, this is, at least on the archives, described as blackened death metal, which I think is pretty accurate. It's dark, it is menacing as hell, and the name itself is a reference to Thomas Robert Malthus. He was, I believe, an economist and a bit of a, I would say, like, philosopher in a way. Interesting takes. I'm not going to go full on into it. It's an interesting read because I just wanted to know what the reference to the name was. But in terms of the music, Malthusian could have been the name of some ancient Sumerian god that fucking just eats babies and shits bones on fucking, ill-tempered people that shouldn't be worshiping him, because, oh my god, this is dark.
Yeah, I think dark is an understatement, to be honest. Like, take the normal amount of dark and then make it darker, and then just add a bunch of creepy voices and the most evil, demonic sounds I think I've heard at least this year. You guys know me by now. I like really dark, evil, heavy music, and this is definitely up there with that.
Yeah, I mean, you get a little bit of a lead in here, and honestly, I'm not going to complain about this intro or ambient track to kick it off, Isolation, because it fittingly sets this up. This doesn't feel like, stock samples and such like that, or, just like any old intro. It feels like it is just tempered in darkness and meant to give you a sense of unease immediately. Like, you get these haunting synths and swells of dissonance, and you get these little flutters of drums and these hissing cymbals. Honestly, like, it pretty much just sounded like Blut Aus Nord, like, warming up to just destroy its audience.
And when the music does finally come in on the next track, Red Waiting, immediately it's very murky, very, very dense. Like, there's not a single ounce of room left on this record to put more sound. To me, it first sounded like they recorded it like in a soundproof room with the reverb just cranked all the way up. I initially thought, man, the guitars need to come up a little bit, but as I got used to this sound, it was perfect for what it was.
Yeah, this was mixed by Greg Chandler of Esoteric, who does a marvelous job at mixing albums. The vocal production here in particular, in terms of, like, the different vocals coming in at different points and swirling around the main vocal, I don't know, that's just something I think he did exceptionally awesome here. But yeah, this mix is dense, it is almost impenetrable, and this was mastered by Brad Boatwright, who has mastered a lot of absolutely killer albums himself. And yeah, dude, this is like suffocating. The first two tracks, Red Wedding and Between Dens and Ruins, these are some of the most ferocious songs on the album. Like, they come in blasty, chaotic, the transitions are sharp, the riff work is fucking apocalyptic. Like, these are the kind of tremoloes you expect from, like, Incantation, Dead Congregation, Cruciamentum. I would even go as far as, like, Titan Blood at certain points on here. Like, it has that sort of feral, almost like war metal energy on some of the songs, but stylistically it is still like 100% death metal. It feels fucking evil, and the atmosphere is just permeated. Like, it is all over this album. You constantly feel it.
And the drum work, too. The drum work on this entire record is absolutely pummeling. There's a lot of really cool twists and turns that I didn't see coming, especially with a drummer that plays as ferocious as this guy does. But it makes most of these songs a whole lot more technical than I thought they would be, too. Like, it's almost proggy in the way it transitions at most times. Between Dens and Ruins is a good example of this, because not only does it transition frequently, but to what it transitions into. Like, it's set up like a meticulously crafted song because the drums build along with the riffs, and a lot of it's really weird. The drums almost flow like kind of a jazzy, fusion-y type of deal. They don't sit still real long, but there's a lot of like swingy groove going on.
Yeah, the opening of that song in particular, like you get like big floor tom hits, it's chuggy, like all right, it feels like we're already building into like a big breakdown, but then it slows down and then it gets into what I would call like a long jazz fusion fill, like dude's going like full Buddy Rich on the drum kit, and then it just like kind of peters out and stops. You're like, whoa, okay, and then bam, off the races, blast beats, dissonance, it's back to being blistering, and then you start noticing like all these like crazy riff changes, even like under like the same blast pattern, there'll be some like weird shift. Then you get to the transitions, they kind of like change up the rhythm and such. You get like an isolated bass section that's really cool. It's definitely like, I would say like the most technical song on there, just in terms of like, it doesn't have like as many repeating parts. Like there's a lot of just crazy riff work on that song.
Eroded into Superstition is kind of the same way. That song's almost drunk. Starts out with this super heavy, intense, almost like Autopsy style blast going on, and then it turns into, I guess, what I would call something closer to like Imperial Triumphant. It just kind of careens into nowhere, but there's again like kind of a fusiony sense to it, like some trumpets, and it's really weird.
That song for me, like, it initially started off as like, I would say like one of the most grounded songs on here, where like it's just got some good old school nasty death metal riffs on there. Like there's some stuff on there that, go across your list of favorite death metal bands, you will hear some elements like that, like Morbid Angel, Malevolent Creation, Deicide. But then there's this really interesting transition. It's very creepy and haunting. Like all the music kind of drops out, and it's right after like some good nasty grooves.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, dude, this is home. I've been here before. Hey, Satan, you got my same seat at the bar? All right.
Sweet.
But it gets down to this like creepy transition where it drops out of the music. You get these swirling vocal effects and just the most unpleasant of like atmospheric noise. Like that doesn't sound good. Like I'm reasonably sure like the Ring chick's gonna crawl out of my fucking TV and hopefully get John first. So, I mean, I'm going to push him down right in front of the bitch and then bolt for the door.
Oh, I saw that in theaters, man.
Oh, to the chick in the closet.
Oh,
there you
man.
go. Anyway, it kind of builds back up into this, like, dissonant, spiraling, like, twisted riff, and then you get that kind of, like, jazzy groove to it. I get the Imperial Triumphant vibe. Like, you kind of, like, stumbled into one of their fucking Eyes Wide Shut fuck party
Fun
shows.
houses, yeah.
Yeah. It's just twisted and dark. And what this band does in the transitions, especially with the more like chaotic atmospheric sections, it's actually kind of something to marvel at, because there are points in this album where it becomes just this maelstrom of darkness and ambience and noise and atmosphere and all the unpleasant things swirling about. And then somehow they kind of like emerge from it with like a really cool, like big riffy pattern or a blast pattern. They kind of like descend into chaos and then reassemble themselves in the dark miasma of just horrible things and then pop out with like an absolutely killer fucking riff. And, it does it a lot on this album.
But there are definitely some moments where they are dialed in on some of the heaviest shit humanly possible. The title track, The Summoning Bell, ungodly heavy riffs, like the stankiest tremolo, the stankiest dissonance. There were times during that song where I wasn't certain that my face was going to come out of just ugh. And it hangs on for so long. Like they just took Trey Azagoth and just said, here, play this. And he was like, no, you guys can do it. And they did. Oh man.
It's like churning, it's menacing. I like that it's a slower build up too. Like this lays on like just like this big, just distant, lurching, bending riffs, and I mean, you put a bend in a nasty, distant death metal riff, and yeah, like it instantly becomes just more evil. And harmonizing it, which this band, I mean, the riffs are harmonized, but they're like almost like atonal, like harmonizations, like where they're just strumming and it just sounds like someone bumped into an old piano.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the title track is probably one of my favorite moments where you have these constant ascending and descending tremolos. Like they're just kind of like swirling about the song, and it's almost like dizzying, like it's kind of disorienting. Like I felt like it was the musical equivalent of falling down a spiral staircase straight to hell, naturally, because that's the only place this album will take you.
But then the heaviest of the heavy, and like by this point in the game, you've been assaulted by this album. There's no way around it. But God, Amongst the Swarms of Vermin, to me, sounds like an awesome collection of all of the heaviest Morbid Angel riffs that there are across any of their albums, smashed into one song.
Well, except for one album.
Well, I mean, except for one album.
Except for
yeah,
one.
We're not going to talk about that album.
Yeah. As soon as that song opened, it's like God of Emptiness 2.0, now with more evil. It is like sludgy, it is dark, and the whole thing about like, you know, the Morbid Angel's greatest riff collection, like sort of vibe that this song has, like that's a good chunk of the song. I almost kind of invented like a little, you know, story in my head, like this song was written back in 1989 by fucking Morbid Angel, and they're like, no way, man. The whole world ain't ready for this, brother. We gotta bury it in a fucking tomb, otherwise Satan's gonna come back and fucking destroy everyone's buttholes.
Yep. And Malthusian decided, no, fuck that. We're gonna unearth it and we're gonna play it. The cool thing about all these riffs going on here is it's a slow burn. I will mention this song is 15 minutes and 30 seconds long, and there wasn't really a point in this song at all where I lost interest. So, like, they just keep it going and going and going, and let me tell you, when they lock in on a groove, they lock on it. And they make sure the riff sticks around long enough to kind of get in your head. It's really oddly catchy.
It is. Like, I mean, honestly, this song has some of the catchiest riffs on the entire album. Like, there's some good bouncy grooves and, like, just straightforward, like, death metal riffs again. Like, it has kind of a shared thing with Eroded into Superstition where it just kind of goes old school and kind of like, yeah, you know what? This is, like, a good hook. Let's kind of lay on it a bit. There's just fun headbangable sections. There's creative blast beat sections. There's even like some thrashy nods in there too. It's a killer riff buffet with fun transitions. And man, like the last little bit before it goes into the giant end section of this song descends into like just one of the sickest Death Doom breakdowns. Like it's pure fucking filth. But I will say that towards the end of Amongst the Swarms of Vermin, while like the rest of it, you know, has well-paced transitions and really good stylistic shifts, like going from that, you know, God of Emptiness sort of opening to like just some flat-out good groovy old-school death metal to like flat-out Death Doom. You know, I really like that. And then towards the end, granted, loved all the riffs. It kind of locks on this, you know, fiercely blackened death metal style. You know, there's a solid blast beat pattern, a good riff, but I feel like it hangs on this moment a little bit too long. Like, you know, it doesn't move much around. Like there's a big repeated riff on there which is catchy as fuck. I have
especially with the drum accents going on.
Yeah.
Like it hits, and when you lock in on what's happening, like it's I air drum most of that, you know, out of in the back half. Like it's really super catchy. It is a little long in the tooth.
It does kind of just hang out a little bit too long, and it's weird because like you compare it to the rest of the song where, you know, like it feels like it's a very methodical, like, all right, and we hit this part and this part. This part just feels like what do we do next? Like, ride this one off into the sunset. Why not? I mean, it's not a bad riff. I totally get it. But there are some like things in here I do feel are, you know, a little bit fillerish, and, you know, maybe some issues in terms of like levels on the mix. Like one issue we had initially where I think the main vocal, like the roars, were a little too out front, and this is kind of a style of death metal where I kind of like them like a little bit more in the back.
Yeah.
But I mean, as the album went on, you know, that really wasn't a huge issue. It wasn't a deal breaker. But there are some additional tracks in here that are, well, just kind of strange. The onset of The Death of Man, you know, it's a pretty cool little like atmospheric bit. It has like some of the most pleasant sounding melodies on it. It's a little bit more welcoming. I kind of like the kind of like almost like stretched static sounds in the background. It's, you know, creepy. It kind of adds this really weird texture to the song. But the last track, In Chaos Exalt, is is just kind of strange.
Of course you get your horror synths. Of course you get your far-off voices. Once again, the drummer shines. It's super groovy, but it's almost like shoegazy at the same time. Like, it doesn't necessarily fit the vibe, I guess.
What I heard, once you like kind of like stripped back the dense wall of hellish soundscapes that sounded like they were pulled from Event Horizon when that ship went to wherever the fuck it went to.
Yeah.
It sounds like the darkest Radiohead track ever. And that's not a dig. I love Radiohead. But it has like, you know, again, like it's like a dark kind of alt sort of feel. But on top of it, you have this just sprawling fucking evil atmosphere. And the music itself sits back. The atmosphere is right out in the front. And it is just the stuff of fucking like night terrors.
It's all unsettling. There wasn't a point on this record, even in the onset of Death and Man, where it is slightly brighter. Like, it's all just kind of like, yeah. Like, and the constant swirling voices, like, and they hit you at all angles, too. There was one part, actually, in Chaos Exalt, where there was a noise, and I wasn't sure what it was. I kind of looked around, I was like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, no, I farted.
Oh. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that was when I farted.
Well, never mind. Then it has nothing to do with that song. So, but yeah, the atmosphere at all times plays such a big part in these songs. And again, I thought that they kind of drowned out the guitars in the beginning, but the guitars did become more prevalent as the record went on. But the evil doesn't let up.
No, I mean, you know, when this album is blasting its ass off, like, it is, you know, dense. Like, there's really not a space where, like, it kind of opens up. Like, it is just a cacophony of fucking pure evil. But we like that sort of thing here.
Love it.
And yeah, this was an absolute monster of a listen. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 4 stars. Like, man, this was bleak. This was just evil as shit. Dude, like, it feels just menacing and dark. Their riff choices and note choices are like, you know, they don't sound like they were trying to like generate like a song or anything. Like, no, these are the notes that will summon the great old ones, so their tentacled faces can rip our faces off. But they also have like a lot of good straight up old school death metal hooks. Like, I mean, there's tons of Morbid Angel on here, Incantation, Immolation for sure.
Yeah.
You know, some of the drum patterns on here are very Immolation-esque. Lots of like clever play that is like kind of like subtle on here too. Like, you know, while you're being distracted by how like dark and dense and atmospheric this is, there's some really clever bass work, really clever drum work.
Yeah.
Again, guitar work's great. Yeah, this is an absolute monster of an album. If you're a big fan of Dead Congregation, Morbid Angel, Cruciamentum, take your pick of dissonant death metal acts out there. And I would, again, even say like a band like Titan Blood, too. Check this out. This thing's just disgusting.
I am in complete and total agreement, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a good solid 4, and it may move to be 4.5 at some point. This record is fucking great, dude. The musicianship is incredible. The drum work is fantastic. The riffs, man. Again, once my ears settled into the guitar work, like, it is riff after riff, and it is the darkest, most evil, down-tuned, atonal, tritonal, just the harmonies are unsettling. Everything is made out to be more evil than the thing that happened before. Like, they picked the most gross and disgusting sounds they could think of. The atmosphere is unsettling. I'm telling you, when they lock in on groove, it's locked. And it just punches you over and over and over again. Meticulously crafted songs, I'm telling you. The fact that it moves like a jazz fusion song or a little bit like a prog song, but again, being the most filthy, evil death metal possible is really cool. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, again, if you're a fan of Cruciamentum, Decrepacy, Immolation, Prescription, Knoll, it's in the vocals, I'm telling you. Check this out. Having never heard this band, I'm probably going to listen to this a whole lot more. We have their first record going on in the background, and I'm eager to check that out as well. So, yeah, definitely give this a spin.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you were new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They're only 99 cents, and eventually we are going to do another members-only live stream. We just got to figure out a time, but now that John is relatively free.
I'm relatively free.
I'm free.
Off overtime, finally. I couldn't take it anymore. I was really going to lose it. I was close. The mental strain of working customer service in 2025 for 60 hours a week is just fucking awful.
That's pure suck.
I'm glad to be back. Outside of the members-only live stream, we still have other live streams which are equally as stupid. I think you might see one this week. We got a buddy that wants to hang out, so we're probably going to do that. Tons of metal content beyond that. Nick's never-ending collection updates. States of metal. Is it metal? Is it not metal? We got discography rankings going on. At the Gates is coming, I promise. Hopefully we're going to shoot that this week. In tandem with the discography rankings, we have Thralls Greatest Hits, where we pick out the greatest songs out of the discography. It seems to be really cool. You guys seem to like it. Anyway, we do all this stuff for you guys all the time because we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of Thralls of Metal. Thank you for continuing to watch our videos and comment and do all the wonderful things you guys do. We couldn't do this without you. We could, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because you guys are awesome, and we will catch you later.